The class once again. Today's lesson will be chapter 2 from the Flamingo textbook. So this is the chapter is called Lost Spring. It is written by a woman named Anis Jung. You can see a little bit about the author at the beginning of the chapter in your textbook. If you look at your textbook now, this chapter deals with the different kinds of poverty that is present in and around India, inside the country India. And in this chapter also, the writer is going to describing about her experiences with these poor children, especially the children who are living in under the poverty, who are living under a very bad circumstances, which is surrounded by poverty. Their lives are surrounded by poverty. And so what happened is this chapter is also kind of divided into two parts. In the first chapter, we are going to see a story about a little boy named Saheb. In the second chapter, we are going to see another story about another boy named Mukesh. The similarity between these two, the lives of these two children are that they are living in a life of extreme poverty, but we could see a little bit difference in how their lives are going to turn out. And the writer at first described that she had witnessed some boys who used to come early in the morning in her neighborhood, and she used to see that they used to look at some things in the garbage dumps. In the big cities, you could see that in the big cities, you could see that in the neighborhood, they collected their garbage and put it together in one place. And in the morning, early in the morning, the garbage trucks will come and pick up those garbage. So early morning, every day before the garbage truck comes, these little boys, they would come out into the street and they will carry some carry bags with them. They will search through the garbage dumps. They will look at whatever things can be resellable, and so they will go through all these garbage dumps. And the writer noticed these boys coming every day, so she was very curious, and one day she asked one of them, why do you do this? And this boy that she encountered is called Saheb, and Saheb told her that they had nothing else to do. And when this little boy Saheb told the writer, I have nothing else to do, the writer says, why don't you go to school? Saheb says, no, we don't have any school in my neighborhood. If they build any school, then I will go to that school. And what happened is that the writer asked Saheb, if I build a school, will you want to come to my school? Saheb is very happy. He replied, yes, of course. But after a few days, when they met again, the writer saw Saheb running towards her, and Saheb is asking her, did you already build your school? Can I come to your school? And the writer felt very ashamed, and because she knew that she had made a promise which cannot be fulfilled to this little boy called Saheb. And now the writer, after months and months of knowing these little boys, she asks the name of these boys, and Saheb told her that his name is Saheb-e-Alam. It literally means the Lord of the universe. But what happened is, the writer compares the living condition, the reality of Saheb's living condition, which is by no means a very good condition, because he was scrounging through garbage dumps every day. They are living the life of poverty, and yet his name still means the Lord of the universe, which is very ironic as well. And then now they used to come barefooted, means that they never wear shoes or chappals or anything on their feet. They used to come barefooted every day. So the writer asks these little boys one day, why don't you wear your chappals? And then one little boy said, "My mother did not bring them down from the shelf." But another boy replied, "Even if his mother bring it down from the shelf, then he will not wear it." Now the writer goes on to describe that when she is traveling all over India, she noticed that some people used to go barefoot. They never wear shoes. And when she asks about it, these people used to tell her that it is their tradition not to go it is their tradition not to wear shoes and to go barefoot. But the writer thinks that this is their excuse because they don't want to say that I don't have any money for buying shoes. Instead, they said that this is our tradition. So the writer believes that it is an excuse to say that they are too poor, that they cannot afford to buy shoes. Now, the writer describes about a story that a man from Udupi told her. Udupi is a very small town in South India in the state of Karnataka, and this man told her about a story of a boy who used to go to school in the town called Udupi. Now, every day he used to pass by a temple, and inside the temple is the statue of this goddess, and in front of that goddess this little boy would pray every day, and his prayers were the same. He would ask the goddess to give him a pair of shoes. A pair of shoes is all that he asks every day before going to school. On the way to school, he will go inside the temple. He would pray every day asking for a pair of shoes. Now finally, when his parents can afford to buy him a pair of shoes, he again ran to the temple. He prayed before the goddess again, and he asked the goddess, "Please let me never lose these shoes. I don't want to lose these shoes. Please let me never lose them." Now, after 30 years, the writer is able to go and visit this small village, a small town. And so, after 30 years had passed, the writer noticed that when she visited that place, Udupi, she went to the priest home, and there she noticed that they had a very comfortable livelihood. They were living a very comfortable life. They had good furnitures in their home. And when the priest's son came home after school, she noticed that even the priest's son is wearing a nice uniform and nice school shoes and all. And she kept on thinking about Saheb and the other boys who used to come to her neighborhood every day, because she knew that these children cannot afford to wear any shoes. Now, after months and months of knowing these children, Saheb and his friends, she finally agreed to go to the place where they were living. The place where they were living is called Simpuri, which is on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it. Metaphorically means that Delhi, as we all know, is the capital city of India. It is the place where we can find all kinds of sophisticated things, like people are living a very luxurious life. Almost every home will be having these luxurious items, even furnitures, and the livelihood, the means of livelihood that they are having in Delhi is a very comfortable life. But even though Simpuri is situated just very near to Delhi, how they are living is very, very far apart from what we can see. And what happened is, when she went to Simpuri, she came to know that these people are the people who came from Bangladesh. The people who live in Simpuri are the people who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. These people, they came from Bangladesh as a refugee to India because, as we all know, Bangladesh used to suffer from floods every year. And so these floods that are happening every year, it destroyed their beautiful green fields where they can grow crops, where they can grow rice. It destroyed everything. So because they don't have any means of livelihood, they don't have any means of livelihood, they don't have any occupation in Bangladesh, they came to India as a refugee and settled here in Simpuri. And during that time, Simpuri was a wilderness, means that Simpuri was a jungle, and they cut down trees and forests, and they somehow settled there. And what happened is, in structures of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, drainage or running water, live 10,000 rag pickers. This means that in Simpuri, more than 10,000 rag pickers lived here. And they are building their houses with mud, whatever they can find, tin and tarpaulin. They just set up a little shelter for themselves and their families. And then what happened is, devoid of sewage. Devoid means it is free from. They don't have any means of sewage, they don't have any proper means of drainage system, and they don't even have running water. Running water are the water that we get in our house, like connection water and so on. They don't have any kinds of all these proper means of sewage, drainage and running water. And so what happened is, if you go through their street, you can smell so many different kinds of stinky smells coming from their streets. And these rag pickers, these people who are living here, their means of livelihood is rag picking. Rag picking means going through the garbage dumps and all. And what happened is that they live here, they get the government provides them, the government of India provides them ration cards where they can get, you know, free rations. And so these women who are sitting together in tattered saris, in very bad their saris, even their clothing are also in a very bad condition. So these women told the writer, if at the end of the day we can go home and if we can get a full meal, then that is better than staying in Bangladesh and working in the fields which gave us no rice. So after years and years of using rag picking as an occupation, they became very mastered, and so they handled their art, the art of rag picking, to their children, and their children also become partners in their means of survival. And so together along with the adults and the children, they went through all kinds of garbage dumps and they pick out whatever things they can sell from the garbage dumps, and then those things that they can sell, they went to the market, they sell it. That is their only means of livelihood. And that means that they don't have enough food to eat all the time. They don't have anything else to buy. They don't have money, food to eat, proper shelter. That is what they don't have. And for them, garbage is like gold. It gave them, because after selling the garbage, it gave them food to eat, proper shelter, and all these things they can find from rag picking. And I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note. Saheb says, Saheb merrily told the writer, sometimes I used to find 1 rupee coin in the garbage dump. Sometimes I even find a 10 rupee note. So if they find anything valuable like that, it does not make them stop doing the garbage, going through the garbage dumps. Instead, it motivates them to go through the garbage dumps more and more every day. And one winter morning, the writer saw Saheb leaning against the fence, and he was watching at the people who were inside the fence playing tennis. And those people playing tennis, they were wearing these tennis shorts, t-shirts and nice tennis shoes. And Saheb was also wearing one of those shoes which is a little torn up, but then it might be a shoe which is thrown away by rich children. But for Saheb, that is like a new one, because he does not have enough money to buy new shoes. Then he was very happy wearing those shoes that are thrown away by children. And Saheb is telling the writer, I like watching this game. I like how they are playing this game. Sometimes the watch. So Saheb is very happy wearing those second-hand shoes that are thrown away by the rich people. And in the last paragraph of this part of the story, time had passed. Some times had passed, and Saheb is growing up. And one day, early in the morning, when the writer again saw Saheb that morning, he could see that Saheb is very grown up by now, and he is carrying some tea canister, and he is telling the writer that he's going to that milk booth to pick up some milk, and he's telling the writer that he works in a restaurant, and this restaurant owner, he paid him 800 rupees every month and also 2 meals per day. And now that Saheb is earning some money, 800 rupees every month, and also he's getting full meal every day. But when the writer looked at Saheb, he could see that Saheb had lost his carefree look. Saheb does not look like a very happy, carefree boy, but it looks like there is a very huge weight that is put on his shoulder. Now, because Saheb is not his master anymore, his own master anymore, Saheb is working under another master, and that is the tea shop owner. Now, that is the end of the first part of this lesson, and in the second part of the lesson, we see a boy named Mukesh. Now, Mukesh insists on being his own master. Now, Mukesh says, I want to be a motor mechanic. Mukesh told the writer, I wanted to become a motor mechanic. But why does that sound very funny to other people? Is that this Mukesh, he came from a place called Firozabad. And this Firozabad is very famous for, the place is very famous for their bangle making industry. And what happened is that all the people, all the poor people like Mukesh family who lived in Firozabad were engaged in the art of making bangles. They are working in the factories that are making bangles. And so that is the reason why when Mukesh says, I wanted to become a motor mechanic, it sounded very ridiculous to so many people. And in this place called Firozabad, so many people, so many families are working in the factories which are making bangles. And inside this factory they are working is that it is very dark with very high temperature. Air cannot come in through the buildings. It is very dark, very hot, and they had to work day and night like this from their childhood up to their adulthood. And so because of the lack of air and the lack of light, their eyes get more adjusted to the dark inside than the light outside. And so when they attain adulthood, most of them were blinded because of the polishing all these bangles, dust from the bangles, and also working in a very dark area. And everywhere that they go, you could see that in Firozabad, the children. Mukesh family is also one of the many families that are living in Firozabad, which are engaged in working in these glass bangles factories. And in this place, more than 20,000 children also were engaged in the art of making bangles. And so they do not know that it is illegal in our country, India, that if they are caught seeing that they made their children to work, underage children working, then they could be sentenced by the law. But they do not know any of this because they do not have any proper education. They do not have anyone tell them that this is illegal for the children, underage children, to work like this. And so the writer came to Firozabad once again. She noticed that the living condition in Firozabad is also not very good. Their houses were made of poorly built, and she could see that all their windows and their doors were also wobbly, and their doors and their windows were also wobbly. And now what happened is that when she went to their home, Mukesh insisted on taking the writer to his own home, invited the writer to go to his home. And so after they went there, she could see that just like Simpuri, Firozabad, the place Firozabad is also a very poor living condition, stinky streets, very bad condition, and they went through. Mukesh opened one door, and when they went inside the door, she could see that one young woman is cooking dinner for the whole family. She is the wife of Mukesh older brother, and since Mukesh is a Muslim, they still practice this, parda system as we call it. And when another elder member of the family comes inside the house, then this young woman, she hid behind a cracked wall, or she would cover herself with a cloth, cover her face with a cloth. And all that Mukesh grandfather as well as Mukesh father and Mukesh elder brother know is the art of making bangles. That is the only means of occupation that they had known. And even Mukesh grandfather is also already blind because of the polishing the glass bangles and working under the, like we said before, working under very dark condition. It is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh grandmother. Now Mukesh grandmother says it is his karam, it is his destiny to go blind, because how can we change what destiny has in store for us? So she does not know how to get out of this situation. She does not know that they could get out of this situation also, and they don't even try to get out of their living condition also. Now, where you go, wherever the writer goes to in Firozabad, in every home, in every house, in every courtyard, all that she could find is bangles, bangles, and more bangles. These bangles that they made, early in the morning, some people would come and they would put as many bangles as they can. So these bangles, the men will put them in on a very big wheel cart, and they will wheel them to the shops to be sold in the market. And that is what they are doing, and in every kinds of colors, blue, red, green, pink, rainbow colors, every kind of bangle, small as well as large, they had made here. Now one girl named Savita, who is sitting along with her grandmother, who is wearing a pink dress, she is also wearing some bangles. And the writer says that this Savita, who is a very innocent young girl, very small girl, does not even know the significance of the bangles that she is making right now, because after she had grown up and when she attains the marriageable age, then they are going to put some bangles in her, and that day will come when they put mehendi on her hands and feet, and then she will become a bride, and then only then she will know the significance of the bangles that they are making. Now the cry of not having money to do anything except carry on the business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every home. Every home that the writer visited in Firozabad, all the family members told her in every home what she knows is a very common thing, that they told her that we don't have enough money to buy food, we don't have enough food to eat, and also we don't have any other means of occupation. We do not know any other means of livelihood other than making bangles. This is what every family of Firozabad told the writer. And the writer asked them, why don't you organize yourself into a cooperative and fight for your rights, fight for your freedom against these landlords, against these factory owners, to give you proper salary for the work that you have done. But these people told her, even if we organize ourselves, then we are the ones, because we are very poor, we are the ones who afterwards, when we go to court, we are the ones who are condemned by the court, we are the ones who are taken by the police, and we are the ones who are beaten up by the police. And those who are brave enough to organize themselves, those who are brave enough to hire lawyers, these people hired gundas, and so these gundas will beat up these men. And so if the the men of the family, the one who are supposed to earn the the livelihood of the family, are caught by the police or are beaten up by the gundas, then the family condition is again becoming very worse. So they don't dare to do anything. So the writer says that listening to what people have to say in Firozabad, what she came to know is that there is these people are very unfortunate to be born in the lower caste in the society, and they are again they are caught up between the web that is built by the policemen, the middle people, and also the big politicians who are involved in so many kinds of things, and they don't know how to get out of their situation. They don't know that there is any life beyond Bengal making. They don't know the art of anything else besides Bengal making, and because of that, the writer is very happy when Mukesh says that I wanted to become a motor mechanic. When Mukesh says I wanted to become a motor mechanic, the writer became very happy because she knew that Mukesh wanted to get out of the situation that they are already in. So she asks him, "Do you know how to drive a car?" And Mukesh says, "I will learn to drive a car." And when the writer asks Mukesh, "Do you wanted to become a pilot? Do you dream of flying an aeroplane?" But Mukesh says no, because like Mukesh answered the writer, very few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad, but there are many cars in and around Firozabad that are going every day. So this is his answer to the writer. But the writer is still very happy with Mukesh, because Mukesh wanted to get out of the stereotype that they had in their hometown. So this is what the lesson is about. And when you look at your textbook, at the end of the lesson, you will see the word meaning that are put there in your textbook, as well as if you don't know the meaning of any words, then mark it, look up in your dictionary for those words meaning. Thank you for the class.